That's what they fear the most about the new financial system, the coming into generational wealth, the possibility of it being able to unleash people. See, what they're afraid of the most is the unleashing of wisdom, the promotion of wisdom, the promotion of freedom of the mind. No, they want to bind everybody. See, now when you don't have any capital, you can't really fight back. Not to a large degree, right? It's very difficult to teach a person to fight mentally against the powers of the world, the influence of the world. It's very difficult to teach that, because while you're trying to teach an individual how to free themselves through the mind, they're suffering so much, they can't really apply the teachings. The suffering is a distraction. So that's not for everybody, but for most people, that's how it is. And only a select few are able to free themselves through the mind, no matter whether they're doing well or whether they're suffering. So they fear these protocols. They fear the wealth it can bring because of what it means. The changing of the guard, the bringing into by way of not just one system, but many. It's like an explosion. People are only seeing one part of the explosion, the new financial system and wealth. But there's many fires that will be born out of it. And so this is a system that they don't control, that will give rise to people that they can't control. That system will give rise to people, a whole new generation, or it can, new generations that won't bend the knee because you threaten them or you believe you're supposed to have this particular position. Those generations won't care about the old ones' proclamations. They won't care. They fear that the most. And this is why there's a huge push to right? To keep the people quiet. No, don't say the wrong thing. They're keeping the people in this box, this black box. They're keeping them there. When all of the people everywhere, no matter where you come from top to bottom, there are higher planes. There's a higher level to reach. You can't possibly believe people have reached their maximum. And unfortunately, and we'll get to some articles, but unfortunately, the technology will not get the people there. The technology that has been offered to a large degree, you could disagree with me. I respect what you think. I understand. I'm not trying to make you believe. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. But the technologies that have been handed down are a distraction. They have ripped, for instance, they rip love out of the hearts and out of the lives of the people. You know how much more love people could have experienced in this life? They rip the love away from the people by instituting certain behaviors and such, and they put the technology in your hand. Here, watch some TV. Here, watch some movies. Here, play some video games. And don't get me wrong. I love a good movie. I love a good video game. But I also keep in mind the balance. I also don't take my eye off the goal. Right? A lot of people don't do that. So the world grows cold. The people grow divided. There's no love. There's no camaraderie. Because that's not what's taught. That's not what's promoted. And that's not reality. What they push, that's not reality. Amongst peoples, of course, you're going to have your enemies here and there. But there can always be mutual respect. And of course, there could always be love curried in different places. But one has to know to work towards that love. Respect can be curried, but you have to know to work towards that respect. You have to have the willpower to work towards that. And then there's a great coming together because there's an understanding. People can grow to a higher level. Even if they were low before, they can grow to a higher level. They can come out of the pupa, out of the chrysalis, out of the shell, and they can blossom. They can grow. You start off as a seed, then you grow, you blossom to a beautiful flower, a beautiful plant. The problem is right now, the way the world is set up, they're keeping everybody in the state of the seed. Well, right now, the world needs to grow. So that's why every once in a while, I try to sprinkle. Maybe what I do means nothing. I can live with that, but maybe it means something. And that's why every once in a while, I sprinkle the waters and hope that the seeds will grow. The waters of wisdom. Let's begin here with this article. But that's why they fear the bank coins, really. That is the substantial reality. You understand? Everything else that we discuss, although powerful, it's superficial. There's so much more development that can be done, right? So much more progress that can be made when one isn't constantly in a state of suffering, constantly in a state of panic. All my bills, all these taxes, there's so much more that can be done when you don't have those unnecessary burdens, those man-made burdens. They fear the removing of such. And I'm not saying it will happen overnight. Of course not. But you get a foot in, you get a step forward, one step at a time. Before you know it, we're running. Things happen little at a time. This is why there is such a panic. But everything has its time. Everything rises and falls. Thank goodness for that. Because it seems that the cycle now, you're coming out of an old cycle into a new. And that's why I keep saying that this is a one-time opportunity, not just for generational wealth. No. For freedom. Freedom. To come out of the black box that the people have been placed in and come into the light. But it's up to the people. The people have the choice. Choice is the problem. Most people don't realize they have choice. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's true. Most people don't realize they have the choice. They can choose. Also, it's hard to shake off the manacles of the mind, where they have groomed and taught the people to be a certain way, think a certain way, follow certain false kings, false gods, celebrities. And so the people have become robotic and like automatons. They must fit in. They must be a part of the herd. Groupthink. You understand? It has been weaponized. I'm not saying that those things can't occur in a natural environment, but that has been weaponized. So in these last days, and these are the last days of the old system. And it's a good thing, in my opinion, the last days of the old system, the end of those days. If the people want it to be, it's their one chance, their one shot. But that's why you see so much activity happening. The minds are starting to shake and vibrate. They're ready to grow to a different place. They feel that there's something greater, something more. So things are heating up. You ever hear that term? Things are heating up. Heat is a mechanism of change. When you heat something up, it changes substantially. So back to the superficiality. The underlying substantiality of what we're looking at is growth to a higher level. I don't want to truly define it, but I'll say that the minds are vibrating. They want to grow to a higher level of awareness. Like I said before, I'll just give you some basics. The science that they teach in schools now is ridiculous. It's not what the people should be learning now. It's not the cutting edge of science. What about quantum mechanics? What about the looking into the nature of the consciousness that is connected to the energies that form the structures? What about that? What about all the scientific experiments that show that when you shoot an atom, I covered this in my book, if you want to grab my book, but when they shoot the atom, they did a lot of experiments like that. They shoot an electron, electron through two slots, and the single electron splits in half, goes through the two slots and combines on the other side. What is the consciousness that is aware of the two slots that allows that to happen? Why doesn't the electron crash into that wall? And this has been tested many a time. See, those are the things that should be looked into, because that type of knowledge and going in that direction, it raises the beings here to a higher level. But no, they want to keep you on a material level, a superficial level. So they flood you with celebrity nonsense. They flood you with material nonsense. It's all distraction. In my humble opinion, you don't have to agree. OK, like I said, I respect whatever you believe, whatever you think. I'm just sharing my humble thoughts. I'm not trying to persuade you, but they flood you with these things. And we all only get so far because of it. It's a wall that people hit and they all hit it. And then that's it. You get a certain level of knowledge and that's it. Unless you walk other alternative paths for information. Of course, most people don't do that. Most people never grow beyond the neophyte level, if they even reach neophyte level. So now, so this change that is coming in these last days is very important. Very important. Let a few generations go by without being as damaged. Like I said, there's going to be struggle in life. That's part of life. There's a balance to everything, night and day, left and right, up and down. There's a balance to everything. But at least let's minimize some of the damage. Let's minimize some of the pain for everybody across the board. But then also instill in the people that they need to fight back against anything that is damaging to them, to not just stand there and take the abuse. You cannot. You cannot. Because see, even if you want to back down, even if you want to display cowardice, these innocent ones behind you are also going to feel the wrath of the attackers. I don't know how to phrase it. The evil ones. I don't want to sound a certain type of way, but all of these words encompass what I'm saying. There's always an enemy. There's always an opposite. There's always a predator for the prey. There's always a prey for the predator. You get what I'm saying? So people should feel the same way and be ready to defend themselves and to defend the right to grow. Defend your right to express yourself without harming another, and fight against those things that harm you. That's what I really wanted to convey. So you can protect the feet upon that pathway of growth. The time is now. The time is now. Exercise the mind. They don't promote that anymore either. They want the people ignorant. They wear them down with work, wear them down to the bone with work. And then when they're not wearing them down to the bone, they're forcing nonsense into their minds. Keep the people fighting each other all the time, while the people at the top are the ones preparing infrastructures, trying to make sure that they're going to be the only ones who receive generational wealth off of the coming new system. They keep the other people distracted. The people fighting each other. They feed them misinformation. The people must free their minds. You must free your mind. This is your most valuable asset. This can continue to grow infinitely. There is no limit to it. It can continue to grow. Get stronger and stronger to your very last physical day. You see, this may have its limitations. All this physicality may have its limitations, but this here continues. It can continue on to grow. So I don't know about you, but I don't like limitation. I like to go as far as I possibly can. And I don't like anyone telling me what to do and what not to do, because I trust myself more than I trust anyone else. You should as well. That's how I feel. If you are a wise one, you're an upstanding individual, and you have cultivated good behaviors and such. And by good, I mean it's forward moving behaviors that are not detrimental to yourself. There is no one who should be telling you what to do and guiding you, because you have guided yourself rightly the entire time. So then why do you need this external entity telling you what to do? You get what I'm saying? That external entity, which has been corrupted by power, because power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. I agree with that saying, that phrase. That person can only bring you corruption. That person doesn't have your best interest at heart. So yeah, no, I'd like to shirk that type of activity. I think most wise ones do. But they don't like that anymore. Now they force you. Look, if you make your own choice to do something, perfectly fine. You made your own choice. The problem is these days, you're not allowed to make any choices. Now, no, I won't say not allowed to make any choices, but they're severely limited. This is what they want. They want to severely limit choices. So they force you into everything. No, you can't be, they ostracize you and make fun of the position. So let's say you wanted to be like a hermit or something and go study for a while, or go be an artist in the mountains, or, go be a monk and meditate out in the open country or something like that. Nope, they don't want that. Now, no, you got to be a part of a group, or You're antisocial or something like that, right? So I'm just giving an example of them forcing something. Now, like I said, if you make that choice to be part of the groups, well, that's on you, and it might be beneficial. It might be beneficial, but you have to know you. The problem is that people aren't allowed to get to know them anymore. They're forced into something, constantly bust over the head with certain types of information to condition you. And people are very susceptible to conditioning. People are very susceptible to suggestion. Suggestion is very powerful. And so, as I said before, so that keeps everybody over here in this box. While the so-called elite, because they're not elite at all, they're not the top at all, they're the bottom. They're the bottom. They're the worst of the worst. But in my humble opinion, while they get to roam free, even though they exist in extreme limitation because of their low mind state, their energy, the mental energy that they produce is very low. So they're bound to like an earthly way, like a superficial way. It's all that they know. They can't break out of it. They don't know how. But yet and still, even with their limitation, they're able to roam free as long as they keep the other people limited. And they maintain that false position by keeping the other people limited because they know out of that little box there are some special people in there. There's some special people in there. You might be one of them that can rise up to great heights, that can make an impact. You'd be surprised the impact you can make. You do a little goodness for somebody, a little charity, a little a kind word goes a long way. Share a little bit of wisdom, and maybe, just maybe, you spark the mind or the heart of someone that's going to be great and change the world. You might do that. They know that there's people like that in there. But when you rise up like that, now their falsehood, there's a light that shines on their falsehood, their false position. And they're shown to be the unsavory beings that they really are. So no longer could they be held on this false high pedestal, this false throne. You see, the wise and the good people don't need a throne. The wise ones don't need a throne. We don't need a throne, don't want it. It's material, it's superficial. We don't care about that. We care about what's real. What's real doesn't need to be said. We want that upward trajectory in the mind. To study, to learn, to grow, to breathe easy, keep the body healthy, eat healthy, to love our family members openly without the added, man-made stresses and such like that, to love people around us, to treat them well, to defend them as well, because there's always going to be an enemy. There's a balance to everything. Although everything fluctuates also, it's all in flux. It's change is the only constant. Everything is in a constant state of change. Constant state of change. That's what all of this is really about. Like, I have all these articles in front of me, but something jumped into me. I just feel like talking. But that's what all this is about. That's the real reason. And we could go much deeper into all of this, but that's one of the real reasons at the substantial level why they're against the coming or the advent of the bank coins, XRP, XLM, Algorand, Cello, because they're afraid that those ones I was telling you about, those special ones that can change the world, the special ones that nobody has seen in generations, that those special ones are rising again. That type of person is rising again. They're afraid of it. They're afraid of it. Because see, when it happens, those special ones aren't going to be all over media. They're not. So it's going to be hard to know what they're doing. They're just going to do it. They're just going to do it. They're going to enact changes. They're going to enact changes that can better the world. But by bettering the world, it would have to necessarily snatch the control out of the false leaders' hands. Someone's going to have to lose, either their side or our side. When I say our side, I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about you and I. Whoever you are, wherever you are right now, you're here for a reason. Cause and effect. Something led you on the path. Cause and effect. There is no randomness. There is no chance. Chance is but cause and effect unrecognized. Every adept knows this. Something led you here, and you're here now. Cause and effect is law, whether anyone likes it or not. So now, after all of that, now we get into a little bit of these articles here. I appreciate you being here, listening to my words. Thank you greatly. I humbly thank you. Thank you greatly for being here. Every single one of you, everybody that comments, I appreciate you greatly. I want to give you your love now. I want to give you your respect now, because I don't know what's coming tomorrow. I don't pretend like I do. Every single day, I'm appreciative and grateful every single day that I wake up and I'm breathing and I can, well, wake up and breathing. That sounds funny though, but you get what I mean. I'm happy to be alive today. I'm happy to be able to come in front of this camera and speak to you all. I appreciate it. Thank you. I couldn't say it enough. That's straight from the heart and the spirit, right? Remember, I told you the definition of spirit before: living mind. Living mind. Actually, there's a deeper meaning to that, right? This is what I mean when I say spirit. Mind. So that love right there comes straight from the spirit, all right? Now, let's start here with this little XRP article here, man. This is from BeyondCrypto.com. And it goes as such. Ripple versus SEC. Legal battle approaches final ruling. Let's read a little bit about this, see what they're talking about here. It says both Ripple and SEC have countered the other's motions of summary judgments and the ongoing lawsuit's latest development. Earlier, Ripple and the Securities Exchange Commission has each filed motions for summary judgment. If granted, a judge would subsequently rule on the case, precluding the need for it to go to trial. However, last Friday, both parties filed separate motions to deny the summary judgment filing of the other. The SEC said Ripple's motion should be denied because of undisputed evidence. That's ridiculous. It illegally sold unregistered. You know what they're going to say. The federal regulator launched a lawsuit against the company. We know all that. Let's scroll down. There's a piece here that I wanted to get to. See if I can find it. It was important. Prior to this, Ripple revealed in a revelation of certain documents that it had requested up to 6 times prior. These were the SEC's the so-called Hinman documents. In the speech, Hinman said that while he previously considered Ethereum a security, his later understanding of the blockchain-based transactions led him to believe that, quote, current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions. Interesting, right? This should be huge in the case. Ripple has sought the release of these notes, believing they demonstrate the SEC's awareness. Okay, so now let's move on to another article here, and it's titled, Ripple Whales Aren't Buying. Will XRP Price Drop Lower? Oh, man, it's so funny. And I understand, you know, XRP is a hot topic. And, you know, they want to continue. Being Crypto does a great job. They want to continue to provide some kind of XRP content. So they're going to try to write an article or something like that. But the price doesn't matter right now. Not at all. Not at all. Not even close to it. If you look at all the banks that are involved with Ripple, right? Then look at all the big money people, millionaires and billionaires getting on board the XRP train out of nowhere when they used to hate XRP. That should tell you a lot right there. The price right now does not matter. It's a steal. Matter of fact, people are wise, in my humble opinion, if they're over preparing. Simple as that. And get as much wealth as they possibly can if this goes according to plan. Not financial advice. Not a financial advisor. I always have to say that. Do what you want. All right. But yeah, you know, get as much wealth as you can in preparation for what's to come. The world is changing. The West is falling. You want to live well. You want to be able to protect your family and, provide for them and move around if you have to, right? You want the ability to do that. So just in case the generational wealth does come, people are over preparing. And I believe that it is going to come, but that's just my humble opinion, right? XRP, XLM, Algorand. I think a lot of people are starting to see the light of the inevitability of what is to come. So now let's continue right here. It says on October 22nd, attorney and XRP enthusiast James K. Fallon revealed that the SEC has submitted for review proposed redactions to 2 drafts of the Hinman's June 2018. That's all the enemy has left. It's just distraction, and delay. Delay. That's all they have, which is ridiculous. Well, you know what? I'll say this also. If you pay attention to who they say are their enemies, and then you actually look at who they have dealings with, you'll see that who they say are enemies are not enemies. Why is that? Why is that? In my humble opinion, it's so that they know that the system is crumbling. And so all of these so-called elites, if everything does crumble, they want the ability to jump ship over to where they can still live a life of luxury. They can still rule a little bit. They still have their value because they can transfer it over because of dealings they have in these other countries that they call enemies now. But like I said, if you look into their backgrounds, they're not really enemies. They're still doing business with these individuals, right? They're in deep with these individuals. The world is a stage. It's a stage. They're playing the people while they let the people suffer. And that benefits them as well, because the more the people are crushed, the more easily the people can be controlled. This is why I'm of the opinion, and you could disagree, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'm of the opinion that be careful of what you take from individuals who have no vested interest to see you rise. There's always strings attached. There's always a negative to that. And I'm just saying, ask the question of what it is before they hand it to you. That's all I'm saying. Right? So anyway, yeah, so the price doesn't matter right now, but I like to cover this from times. I like to see what they say, what they're talking about. It says, despite the recent ruling in favor of Ripple, price has maintained below the 50-cent psychological resistance barrier. At press time, XRP noted a mere 52% rise on the hourly chart, trading at 45 cents. Listen, when the time is right, it will shatter. It will absolutely destroy that price. Like, people will find it hard to believe that it was ever that price. It's just my humble opinion. They'll find it hard to believe. Just like they do with Bitcoin now. The same thing happened with Bitcoin. Same thing happened. Oh, it's not going to 100. Oh, it's not going to 2,000. It can't go to 10,000. It can't possibly go to 20,000. Can't go to 40,000. No. It's going to 0. Same thing happened right there. So anyway, let's continue on here. So then we have this article here. XRP Lawyer finds good news for Ripple in SEC claims. Did SEC go for weak claims in XRP lawsuit? John Deaton, amicus curiae, and XRP holders lawyer in the Ripple lawsuit highlighted weak claims in the commission's filing. He stated that there is good news for Ripple as SEC hasn't offered any specific sales with contracts. However, it's alleged that sales may be done to an accredited investor, as it was a subterfuge to get to the secondary market, he added. Deaton specified that there are no specific transactions mentioned. The SEC has just submitted all transactions. The SEC hasn't cited any of Ripple's specific sales in the XRP lawsuit, which some included contracts. That is huge. Salute to you, sir, Mr. John Deaton. Done a great job. Holy smokes, you've dropped some bombs throughout this case. You've exposed a lot of great information. You are on top of your job. And after this is all said and done and we have a victory, yeah, people better definitely, your price better go up. It better go up a lot because you're doing a heck of a job, sir. And I greatly appreciate that. XRP-oriented funds experience huge inflows ahead of SEC versus Ripple outcome. Of course, the people know, the company, everybody across the board pretty much knows, except the common person. Like, the common person doesn't know, doesn't care. They fear crypto. There's been so much FUD lately that people are getting shaken out even more. I see a lot of, my goodness, I saw a lot of people lately, and they're saying, I'm done with crypto. This is it. Buy. And my goodness, before the explosion of a lifetime, they left crypto. To each his own. I suppose those people have their reasons, right? I'm supposing that they're good reasons, because holy smokes. Let's move on from that topic. But I saw it, you know, Anyway, it says, according to the latest fund flow report around cryptocurrency-oriented products presented by CoinShares, last week was negative. However, those XRP-oriented products ended the week with a positive inflow of $800,000. Month-to-month inflows to XRP amounted to $700,000, and year-to-year, $9.5 million. As the source notes, while inflows to XRP are relatively small, they are nevertheless the largest since the litigation between the SEC and XRP began. With recent developments, the rise in XRP inflows is unsurprising. CoinShares has reported outflows or neutrals from XRP over the past few weeks, but it was the last week that marked the imminent light at the end of the litigation tunnel. In addition to XRP inflows, we're seeing into Bitcoin, Solana-oriented products, but that, like I always say, that really doesn't concern me at all. So now, let's move on to this next little article here. A little bit of stellar news. So this little post that they made here is titled Stellar Development Foundation Enterprise Fund invests $5 million in Wave. So let's read this and find out what this is about. Stellar Development Foundation today announced $5 million USD enterprise fund investment in Wave, an African mobile money app which endeavors to make Africa the first cashless continent. You see how deep they're going to Africa because they understand where everything is going. I keep saying this, and you keep seeing them go deeper and deeper, not just Stellar, a myriad of companies and countries. Africa has tons of minerals, right? Precious metals and all types of precious gems, and they have everything. Oil, everything. Lithium, which is questionable, all right? But they have that as well. And if the African peoples are going to be the ones benefiting from that, then they're in for a heck of an explosion. And Africa's going to do very well. Same thing in Latin America, Southeast Asia and such. You see that? Did you see the article recently on Elon Musk now considering doing a massive investment in Mexico? Haven't I, since last year, been talking about Mexico and telling people how big Mexico is going to be, where it's going? That already began. Didn't I say that there was a flood of people leaving the West, especially the United States, going to live in Mexico? Yes. And you can read articles on that. There's a reason for that. Look at the companies that are going down to Mexico. Look at the companies that are going to Africa and the people going to Africa. But the common person is not seeing this. They don't understand. They don't know. They've been fed so much misinformation. And don't get me wrong, everywhere around the world has its dangers. But in the decline of the West, people are looking for greener pastures. They're spreading themselves out a little bit now. So some people, they have a little bit of their business in America, a little bit of business in Mexico, a little bit of business in Africa, a home in America, America, United States to be specific. Okay, sorry about that. United States. They have a home in United States, then they have a home in Mexico, then they have a home, they might have a home in the United States, a home in Africa. But you get what I'm saying. They're spreading themselves out just in case they can have a little maneuverability, because nobody knows what's going to be happening in the world. And as I covered in the last video, be careful of the dollar. Be careful. And like I said, I hope that people don't have to go through more struggles and stress and pain. But as it stands right now, their politicians have failed them. Simple as that. From Europe to the United States, their politicians have failed them. The difference is all over Europe, there's protests everywhere. The people are in the streets. They're up in arms. They're demanding that somebody be held accountable, somebody do something. We'll see how far that goes, because like I said, it's about to be a cold winter in Europe. Their politicians have failed them. Now, United States has completely different problems, but over time, they're going to start to feel some of the similar things that are going on in Europe. Over time, if things are not handled properly. But United States has a chance to right some things. They still have a much more optimal position than Europe did, because they're not so susceptible to certain activities that went on that put Europe in this particular state when they issued sanctions, right? So United States is not so susceptible to those things. So it's still in a more optimal position. We'll see what their politicians are going to do in the future, because we know that they've been failing all along this for a while now. The people are living through it. That's why a lot of this suffering is happening. Simple as that. That's just reality. And there were things they could have done. There were mechanisms they could have put in place, activities they could have actions they could have taken to minimize the negatives that the people are feeling now. They could have done all that. You see them admitting it. They could have done that earlier. Why didn't they? Why did they take certain pathways? Is it either ignorance or is it sabotage? One of the two. It's one of the two. They allowed these things to happen. Where the people that everything is sky high prices, like, yeah. Energy crisis, yeah. Cause and effect. So, we'll see what happens. But this is very good for Stellar. Very good for Stellar. Every little step is good. They're building. You have to look at everything in totality. I'm very happy with this. And I hope that this is greatly benefits to people in Africa. So it says, Wave has shown progress in this area, introducing simpler, cheaper solutions that have helped it gain users at an impressive rate, serving over 10 million monthly users across Senegal, Uganda, Mali, Burkina Faso. With a network of over 30,000 agents, Wave is expanding access for users to deposit, withdraw, pay merchants, and pay bills for free and send money more affordably. So yeah, I think this is very good. I'm very happy with seeing that. And Stella has been doing a good job lately. I'm looking forward to another information dump at some point within the next maybe 2 months or 3. And I think that should be very exciting. We'll see. So I'm gonna stop there. I have so many more articles, but I took up a lot of time, speaking off the top of my head earlier, so I don't want to keep you here too long. We'll go over the rest of these articles tomorrow. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.